This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Welcome to the Interviews Podcast. Welcome, Interisti, to episode 211 of the Interviews Podcast. We are here because another week goes by. Another preseason game in the books against Milan in Australia. And did you think we were going to be talking about another signing by now? No, absolutely not. Despite the fact that all we hear is this week will be a decisive week, Johnny. This week is decisive. They're pondering, they're contemplating. Nothing happens. There's no news. Status quo.
Yeah, seems pretty standard for this club, right? I mean, nobody is more capable of having decisive weeks than our club, and it's amazing. With the amount of decisive weeks we've had this summer, you'd think we'd be moving like Real Madrid. It's actually impressive how many decisive weeks, decisive conversation, decisive dealings. Yeah, it's getting a little tiresome.
Did you know, I don't know if you know this, but did you know that we won the domestic double last year and so far have brought in a defender on a free and a backup goalkeeper for 3 million euros?
That's what we did. We won a domestic double?
We did.
You wouldn't know that with the way we move. You would not know that. You would honestly think that, you know what the most amazing thing is? I don't know if you saw who Fiorentina is bringing in on loan.
Did. What a Mercato they're having.
And we, the club that actually won a domestic double, have signed, like you said, a defender on a free, which I think was only possible because their agents reached out to us and said, hey, he's available if you want him.
This 32-year-old oft-injured center back, if you guys want to have him.
Which, hey, listen, you and I still appreciate the player, but yes, you're not wrong with that statement. And then we got a backup goalkeeper, which, listen, he's done well for us so far, but he got relegated to the bench by a teenager because of his poor performances. Not just because he got injured, he also was playing pretty poor. And I think if you ask any Laziale, they didn't really love the way he was playing last year. So, I mean, granted, he is our backup. It's not like he's stepping into a starter role. But, yeah, that's where our money has gone this summer. Incredible.
It's the same team minus Dumfries, Acerbi, and De Vrij, and Sommer. And then we brought in Provedel and John Stones. Like, that's it. Oh, sorry. Apologies. Pavard is back at the club.
You're right. Pavard is back at the club. Thank goodness, too. My gosh. I don't know how we actually won without him last year.
Let's, okay. We'll get into it. I don't know if you guys can tell by listening to one half of your co-hosting duo, Alessandro, Raffa, and of course joined here by Johnny Paterno. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this might be a little bit of a Mercato frustration episode. Obviously, let's very quickly touch on the preseason game in Perth. 1-1 was the score against Milan. Goals from Federico Di Marco in the 52nd and Nkunku in the 84th. Johnny, have you seen the penalty?
I didn't see the penalty, but I do want to say, shout out Stefan Rossi and Mike Guerrieri, who were at the game. Stefan has put us some pretty cool content too. like leading up to like, I mean, I guess he went with a friend who's a Milanista. That was a pretty cool little video. He's, he's such a cool guy. I kind of like, I would love to just get like a pizza and talk with him, like in person, hang out with him in person. He's just, all the songs he's putting out too. Anyway, I did not see the penalty. I've heard what people were saying about said penalty. Did not see it. I was not waking up early to watch a preseason game. I'm sorry.
You know what? You didn't miss much. I mean, honestly, story of the game, opening half hour or so, Inter looks like they were already gassed. That they had come into the game gassed, which is possible, all the travel that they've been doing. The intensity of the preseason games. It looked a lot like some of the Milan games that we had last year where it was Inter dominating possession and then getting hit on the counter.
No, it looked like that? No.
It looked exactly like that, especially for that first half. But we did turn it up towards the end of the first half. Second half, obviously we get the goal in the 52nd minute. A really nice goal, created in part by Pavard stepping up and cutting off a pass down the right hand side, laid it into Lavelli, who, that's a player that you had mentioned last week on the pod. Next, I did not realize this until I watched that game, but next to Pio, you see he's actually a huge kid, big bodied kid. Really good hold up play in the box, laid it off for Barella, who put it across, and Gianmarco puts it in. Lavelli had himself a really good game, actually. Good eye, John.
I mean, listen, I didn't want to say I've seen the signs on the wall, but the signs were there. And no, I mean, all kidding aside, like he is a player to be excited about. I liked what I saw in the couple of matches I saw with him last season. So far this preseason, I liked what I've seen, and yeah, like he is a big-bodied guy. I think that if he continues to grow like this, he can be a striker, or like I don't know if they would use him out wide a little bit. I think striker is going to be better for him though, and yeah, it'll be interesting. No, he's not a pace. Like I know they've used him out wide at times. Not saying that that's where they start him, but they'll push him out if needed. But yeah, not going to be something I would foresee. I think when you have them at that age, you are able to be a little bit more experimental in positions and see how they move and see if they're able to feel comfortable on the ball and in wider spaces and stuff like that. But anyway, I think that he would be a player that could be someone good for us in the future, and I'm excited to see his development. I hope he continues to grow and continues to get opportunities potentially.
Quick question for you, actually. What would you do while we're on this, what would you do with these players for this upcoming season? I'm going to throw them rapid fire. You just tell me what the plan is for them. Jamal Idrisu.
U23.
Really? I'm loan.
You loan him out?
Yeah, I think
you think you. I know. I mean, you said it last week how you feel about Serie A, but I think staying in the Inter system where you'll be guaranteed minutes, I think would be more important. I get that the talent level isn't there, but I think you want him to get minutes under his legs. You can't guarantee that in Serie B, but wouldn't be against it either.
Lavelli.
U23 for me, yeah.
Yeah, for me it's U23 too, because after seeing him in this last game do what he did, I think like potentially fifth striker option, a few minutes here and there, I think he could do well. Bovio.
Serie B.
He's out on loan. Yeah, he's been impressive too. Versatile player, but at Gisa and also center back. He's
I think if you can get him to ideally some team that's going to be in the top half of Serie B that would be competing, maybe for promotion would be ideal. But of course, you also want him to have opportunities to develop, and maybe those teams that are trying to compete to get promoted are going to be more focused on veteran players who can guarantee that. But yeah, I'd like him to at least be in the top half of the table.
Yeah, I think earning minutes in a competitive environment, more competitive environment than the 23s is probably where he's at. Yvan Maye. Yvan Maye. Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Is he still Primavera?
Yeah, I am not so high on the kid. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, like I don't think he's ready to make the jump to U20. He's 20. Yeah, I mean, nothing's really stood out to me from him. I don't. Well, you put him as United, so I guess he would have to be on U23. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. He wouldn't be a
if there was
starter.
an offer for him, I'd take him. But if not,
Yeah.
U23s is fine. Last one, Matteo Mosconi.
Loan.
See, he's stay for me. I want
Okay.
Topalovic, Idrisu, all those guys out. Go get
You would
minutes.
send them out.
Mosconi and Lavelli are the two.
Well, the
where
two
I
you would keep at U23. Okay.
Just, because they're still there, they're development wise, but they also, like, I'll bring them up once in a while and, like, let them whatever. Topalovic needs to play serious. He needs to play serious.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you would have said, I would have said same. Like, if you mentioned him, I would have said, yeah, loan too. He needs to play. I mean, I would love Venezia to come in and take him on loan, to be honest. I feel like they do a good job of playing the younger players typically there, and if they bring someone in, they give them the opportunity. I mean, look what they did with Philippe, right? Like, it's going to be. I'm actually going to have fun watching Venezia this season, just so I can watch more Stankovic matches, and yeah, it would be nice to see if Tovalovic went there too, because then you have another reason to watch him.
They also signed Bella Kochap. Who was he's kind of a so-so. I see potential in him, but I'm not super high on him. But he is a former target of Inter at some point in time. So they definitely have a few players to keep an eye on. The rest of that game is fairly simple. I mean, the things that were important were Bisek got a lot of minutes under his legs. Bastoni got a lot of minutes under his legs. The guys that you expect to be starting, they're past the 45-minute threshold now in preseason, which now things are getting, they're getting pretty serious here. Bisek also took a shot to the back of the head from Estupinian in like one of the most ridiculous challenges I've seen. He tweeted after the game that he's fine. In the moment, like, it looked really bad. He didn't look like he could get up.
Yeah, I did see the play. I mean, I kind of would have liked to have seen, some fisticuffs in down under, but maybe they'll save it for the season. I'm sure players don't forget things that happened and stuff like that. So
yeah. So listen, good minutes. At this point in the season, that's really all we're looking for. And now, also like BS penalty from Nkunku. I mean, there just wasn't a touch from Augusto, so it was just like kind of a weird.
Got to call it. You got to call it in the preseason.
You got to call it, especially when it's in Perth. You got the Milan fans there. I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going on, but who really cares? Okay. Let's shift over to the Mercato. So,
do we
State
have
of
to?
the Union. I have to. I gotta let some stuff out. I have to let some stuff out. And
I love it. Yes,
you're my guy. So, for the listener, State of the Mercato is nothing is happening. And when I say nothing is happening, what I mean quite literally, the deal is done for Romero from a player perspective, a wages perspective, and for the fee to Tottenham. Why can we not do it? Because apparently Pavard needs to leave the team in order for, and then what they say, the reports are, as soon as he leaves, the deal is done. So we're technically being held hostage by a player who is continuing to actually refuse moves. And apparently Inter is offering him everywhere. He refused moves to, get this, these two clubs, Johnny, which this is crazy, at this point in his career to be refusing it. Galatasaray and Benfica. Those are two good situations, actually, that he would be going to. This is not like you have to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, no, you'd be playing Champions League football. You'd be still competing at the highest level. You'll still be competing for trophies. It made no sense to turn down either of those clubs, in particularly Galatasaray. But yeah, I mean, I could totally see this guy just trying to derail this season for us, not just on the pitch but off it as well. And he's doing a great job so far, and it's pretty pathetic that this is how we have to move in the market.
So that is the Cuti Romero of it all. It's Pavard is the direct connection there. Okay, the next thing is right wing back, nothing doing except a report comes out Moussa Diaby, who they had targeted in January. Inter offered like 18 million euros plus Aslani for him, Al Ittihad. Well, guess what? Today, Moussa Diaby was signed by Bayer Leverkusen. They submitted an offer. It was accepted. They agreed wages with the player. Done.
Crazy.
48 hours
Crazy.
ago, those Leverkusen links I saw. 48 hours ago. That deal is done. Okay?
A team that's also not going to be competing in the Champions League, if I'm not mistaken. No. So cool that a team that's not going to play in the highest competition is able to show an interest in a player and close the deal in an acceptable amount of time. Insane.
Yeah, like literally like 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days. Anyway. So that's the second thing. The last thing, Fratesi wants to go to Juventus. Juventus, let's see. Maybe later. That's what they're saying at this point. They offered Nico Gonzalez in return, apparently. Nope, Inter doesn't want to do that. We don't know what's going on there. So Fratesi still part of this team. Guess what? Aslani, Sassuolo wanted him. A number of different clubs wanted him. Nothing's going on there.
Yeah. Another one who doesn't. It's amazing how when you're not wanted by a club that owns you, and clubs are coming in that do want you, and you're playing hardball, thinking you're better than you actually are. You did nothing at Besiktas, and you think that I don't know, Man City should be coming in with an offer? Yeah, what are you waiting for Barcelona to open their eyes? Like, sorry, you are a nobody. You are a nothing. You are an absolute waste of money, and it's disgusting that now we're being held hostage by three people who literally offered nothing to this club. And what are they gonna do? They're just gonna train separately all season because no one's going to come in with an offer, and then we're going to same thing with like a Joaquin Correa. We're going to wait for their contract to run out, all three of them, to then do what?
You said Joaquin Correa, almost as if this is a recurring problem that we don't seem to be like figuring out how to address. Which okay, let's get into it. Let's get into all the different aspects of this thing.
Let's do it because we all know how. I mean, listen, my Twitter name has been Auxilio out since I don't know, last September or November maybe. I don't know, but let's go.
Let's go. May 7th of this year, I tweeted, and I have it pulled up here so you guys can see. For the directors, I'm referring directly to Beppe and Piero. January through May should be spent focusing on 1, laying the framework for whatever your marquee signings will be for the summer. I included a bunch of different names that we're targeting: Palestra, Curtis Jones. If they had laid the framework from January through May, maybe it wouldn't have taken us, weeks to figure out what was going on before Chelsea swooped in for Palestra. But regardless, that was one of the things that I said they need to focus on. The second thing was finding solutions for the players like Pavard and Fratesi, because ultimately they're the key to unlocking your Mercato. Having those players on the books by late July or early August, especially in a World Cup year, ends up being the difference between doing what you want to do on the market versus having to go for opportunities because you weren't able to get dead weight off the books in time. How perfectly something that was tweeted the first week of May has played out here as we enter into we're coming up on the second week of August, where these players are still here. So, Johnny, this got me thinking. We've played this game before, like the blame game, whatever. And I have been, I think earlier in the season, after Palestra went down, I felt in my heart of hearts, Oak Tree was the biggest problem that we have. They won't authorize sales for a certain thing. But this situation with the dead weight basically blocking up Mercato has shifted something in me. And you tell me whether or not I'm being reactionary, but you tell me when I say something that's wrong. 1, Oak Tree is an asset manager. Their actions are completely in line with what they are. They may not be an ambitious owner, but their actions are in line with what they are. This is your budget. Get creative. We're not going to authorize whatever. You can make an argument that you can't operate in a market for top players with this, and that you cannot. But But a better director would say, okay, 25 million, I have holes to fill. I can find those players.
Listen, with the ways that we've supposedly had players blocked off, whether it be a Julian Alvarez, whether it be an Enzo Fernandez, whoever else you could throw out there that have been names in the past who weren't purchased from more than 25 million. You can't tell me that there isn't talent out there that we could be finding. You can't tell me that we can't just go get Javario Reed for 25 million right now if we wanted to. And you can't tell me that it's all Oak Tree's fault. Like our good friend, Average Joe did tweet something about, how
I saw that.
I forgot now how he phrased it, so I don't want to be wrong.
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up because I did quote tweet it. So actually, I guess I could.
Did you agree or I didn't? Because I didn't agree necessarily.
I didn't agree. What I did say was it doesn't change the fact that under 3 different ownerships, Auxilio's been unable to sell off players in that time frame. He hasn't been able to sell people when they're at their highest value. He hasn't been able to sell people when they're at their lowest value. He hasn't been able to sell people at all, except for the obvious ones, like the Lukaku, which was a no-brainer, right? That much money comes in. Hakimi, of course, people are going to come in and spend money on at the
that's
time
easy.
the best.
That's
That's the best. Like you and I could have been sporting directors.
Make no mistake.
Yes.
Weird policy. Yeah. So Joe says, make no mistake, by the way, this weird policy that Inter now have to get rid of one or both of Pavard and Fratesi to make signings is on Oak Tree 100%. There's a lot of blame for Marotta and Auxilio this summer as well, but this one is absolutely on Oak Tree. So the argument that he's making is that, like, sign the players anyway, and then, we don't have to get rid of the dead weight in order to sign the players. So I don't necessarily agree, but what were you going to say about
that it's still I was just saying that it's still Auxilio who has an inability to sell players, sell people. He gets all the, for all these deals and friendships he has with agents, he's unable to get things across finish lines with other clubs. When he's trying to move the players out that he has friendships with agents, apparently he's unable to do that. To be at this point in the Mercato and not have sold a single player except for Akin Sanmiro, really, that's pathetic. That's pathetic. And you're holding
and Akin Sanmiro also, like, that fell through the original deal. The only reason that
yeah.
happened is because he's legitimately talented. It's like that makes sense that someone would be in on him.
And then you have Davide Fratesi, right? You're expecting 35 million euros. No one's coming in with that offer. You had an offer for 30. You're trying to play hardball for an extra 5. I'm sorry, but Fratesi, if you get 30, that would have been a gain on a player who has done absolutely nothing except score 2 goals that some Interisti, for whatever reason, cling to like he has been an absolute miracle worker. Look, Matias Vecino also scored a couple of timely goals for us. Do I look at him as anything special? No, not at all. I'm sorry. Fratesi was, in my opinion, a more limited player than Vecino even. And listen, you want to argue till the cows come home, we can, because I would still say Fratesi is less valuable and less talented than Vecino and Gagliardini. And I'll take that. I will fight till the end of my days because I don't care when the goals were scored. That's it. That's all he's done. That's all he's absolutely done. And the 6 months that Gagliardini was here, his first 6 months, were better than anything that we ever saw from Fratesi. But I digress. You're unable to sell him. You're unable to get rid of Pavard. You're unable to get rid of Aslani. You don't have anything even in the works. And then, I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that as a sporting director of a, what would you say, top 10 club in Europe in terms of, what we're able to really perform like? I would say so.
Minimum.
You can't tell me that along with your ownership, right, you do not know what your limitations are and what parameters you have to work within. You cannot tell me that if I know that I could only afford $25 million players, I'm not even entertaining people for 40, 45 million. I'm not. Like Palestra would have been, hey, you know what? This is what we can do. Or I wouldn't even say the number. I would just say, hey, unfortunately, we're unable to really make an aggressive offer. And that's it. That's all you have to say.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know, because I'm gonna continue down a little bit of a rabbit hole. So finish out.
I was just gonna say, like, just gonna finish up with, if you know that 25 million is your max, there are players in the Belgian league. There are players in the Danish league. There are players in the Dutch league. You are able to, you can find players in France. You found two. One of them's been absolute trash. The other one's starting to develop into a player, but you are able to find players. Hey, you could have had a guy like an Enzo Lefebvre, who I still think could have been a good midfielder for us, for 15, 17 million euros. You could find talent in these leagues.
Bisek was 7.5 million euros spread out over several years. You're telling me that he's the only one that exists? I'm not even talking about, like, just profile wise. The only one?
That team is the only one who would agree to a deal that's structured in that way. I don't think so, especially in these lower leagues. They're still getting paid regardless. They would have been thrilled. You can't tell me that, you can't go back to Dinamo Zagreb and find, some other player. You could have got Baturina and Sucic, which I wanted both. And I could pull up tweets if you want me to. I'm not going to do it, but I can. I've always wanted both. You just, what is it? A laziness? And on top of that, you can't go to Argentina and find talented players, like, as if there are none, right? We just happen to sign the only center back from Argentina who has been completely useless. That congratulations, guys. But you couldn't get, Mastantuono. You couldn't get a guy like Tagliafico before he ended up going to Ajax. Like, there were players available. You could have done something. And you would think, with all the connections you have with the Argentinian ties at this club, that you're going to tell me that, listen, Diego Milito brought players to you. Obviously, Lautaro being one of them. He's mentioned, and you weren't able to get he was the one that suggested Julian Alvarez. He was the one that suggested Enzo Fernandez. You can't do anything. It's just pathetic, but go ahead.
So, and I'm in lockstep with you here. To Joe's point, which this is not like bashing Joe. He's a friend of the show. Like, I think what I would like to harp on is Oaktree is not operating like a bad owner. They're operating the way that through what they are, which is like, they're an asset manager. They're not an owner. They're a steward. Like, you want to blame ownership all you want. It's like, well, they don't want to be the owner. They're just they're getting the asset to a point where they can sell it. They're operating. You can't blame Oaktree for being Oaktree. You can.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I agree with Joe to an extent on that. I was naive, I'll be honest. I thought that they would be a step up from what we were getting from the Zhang family, in the sense that, listen, I love that Steven. I made fun of him tons, but I did love that he would pull the trigger on those things, and like almost like a we'll figure it out later type of mentality. I did love that, and especially when you have people who I guess who are tied to the club in a different mindset, that is, a way to endear yourself to the fans. I, towards the end, was getting frustrated because it felt like we were having to sell more than we were able to buy to be able to keep things afloat. And they were trying to kind of mask like the cracks in the foundation with Scotch tape, but in the end, he always did try to do what was best for Inter. Like, and I thought because Oaktree would take over and because that they were this big fund, that, hey, maybe they would have a different outlook. I was wrong. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I was wrong in those expectations. But now seeing it, like you said, like, they are asset managers and they are trying to get it to a point where it is financially stable enough where they could be able to sell it off. Exactly. To be able to get somebody in to want to spend, like, they got it for 300 million. If they're able to sell it for 1.2, 1.5, like, their goal is to make the biggest profit that they can on this asset.
Yeah,
I think,
and it is on it's not on them. Like, they have to set the parameters. The most important thing for them is not the footballing history. It's not the fans. They don't care about that. And you know what?
Yeah,
you can't blame them. That's not what they bought the club for. That's not what they got involved in it for. That's a fucking horrible thing for your club to be experiencing. You're owned by someone who genuinely doesn't give a fuck about anything other than what is the value of this club as an asset. But, which I understand, that's fucking annoying. Fuck them. But at the same time, also not fuck them. Like, that, That's what they are. What are you so naive that you don't understand that? That's what they are. And it's not their fault. They bought the asset for this specific reason. There is somebody whose fault it is. There is a couple people whose fault it is. It's on the directors to make sure that Inter stays. It's not that they can't be competitive under Oak Tree. 25, you can approve a signing up to 25 million. That's good. That's a good situation. I can work with that. It's a problem for these specific people. You want to know why? Piero Ausilio doesn't have any ideas. His way of thinking for running a football club is old and tired. What you're seeing here on the screen right now is from a podcast from the owner of Oak Tree. And I was trying to get an understanding of like, how do these people work? He talks a lot about second level thinking variant perception, which is to be superior at anything competitive. You need to see what the consensus is not seeing. Okay. Going after Premier League rejects, overspending to go after Premier League rejects is not finding something that the consensus didn't see. Targeting players that you end up in a bidding war is not seeing something that the consensus didn't see. Negotiating with clubs that you know are going to drag out the situation is not being smart. This guy, Piero Ausilio, his method is old and tired. Somebody young that knows the value of, knows how to spot stuff that other people don't see, that can shop in different leagues that other people don't see, that can see talent and get a deal done for under 25 million, they would thrive in this situation. You're telling me I get to lead, I get to be the director for a club that just won a title, and you're going to give me up to 25 mil to sign players that spot talent that I find? It's on me to be to do something that in every other sport, in baseball, the people, you don't need to spend the most money in order to win. The Mets spent all the money in the world. They fucking suck. They spotted a bunch of players that fucking suck. This is on Piero. Sorry, I got a little emotional. A little heated.
No, I love it. I love it because, I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying. You know, like, there are, like, so many talented players that you can go out and find. And, you know, like, just 7 hours ago, a midfielder that I am a big fan of from the Dutch league, Kodai Sano, that people think is his brother, he just got sold to PSV for 14.5 million euros.
Today he's worth double that. In 1 year, he's going to be worth 2.5 times triple that.
I guarantee within 2 or 3 years, he is sold for 40 to 45 million euros. Guarantee it. He is an absolutely fantastic box-to-box midfielder. Not saying he's a necessity. I'm not saying that he's the guy that we have to go after. But if you did sell a player like a Fratesi, you did sell a player like Aslani, and you're unable to get a deal done with Curtis Jones because, you can't go above 25 million, what a fantastic player that is. 22 years old. For whatever reason was left off the Japanese national team. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's because of what occurred with his brother, that they didn't want to have him having to deal with questions and all that stuff. Neither here nor there. I'm not going to speculate, but fine. That doesn't take away from his talent.
The profile exists.
And there's talent. There, like we've been saying, there is talent in other parts of the world where you are able to go and spend even less than 25 million euros to be able to bring them in. And you can't tell me that clubs like PSV and Ajax and Feyenoord do terrible jobs of finding young talent. Look at everything that they are able to sell. And even if they don't pan out, who cares? They sold Matthijs de Ligt for 80 plus million euros. They sold Frankie de Jong for 80 plus million euros. Hakim Ziyech was another 60 million euros. Like, did anybody know?
This is another thing too, where it's like, okay, you understand what your constraints are. You have to work within your constraints, and you have to build a competitive team. Okay, you can't promote players in your own academy for whatever reason. It's not Serie A's way. They're not ready to compete at the level you need to compete. Okay, go make relationships with those academies that are producing talent left and right. What if they want to loan someone like a Stankovic or a Topalovic, make it easy for them to do so and foster a relationship. Get creative. Get creative.
And then you know what you're able to do? You're able to use those players on loan as makeshift ways to get players at a cut price. If you don't plan on using them.
Him, fine.
Yeah. Oh, you want to keep Filip Stankovic for whatever? Okay, cool. We'll take I don't know. Yeah, Matthijs de Ligt, in return, and we'll throw in an extra 30 million euros. Whatever the case is, you work it out, you figure it out, and you keep harboring that relationship. But no, we don't have the mentality to be able to grasp something like that. And the fact is that those players, those clubs are able. Listen, for all the people that want to blame Atalanta for not working with us and not dealing with us and not helping us get Lookman and not, they're also smart businessmen. You know what they did? They got top dollar for their players and not selling them for less than what they should have gotten for those players to sell them to a direct rival. Do you want, if we were a lower club, would you want Nicolo Barella to be going to a Milan or a Juve because we have to sell? Well, that's it. The only club's coming in with an offer. No, we wouldn't want to be. We wouldn't want to be doing that.
Has made more money from sales in the last 5 years than Atalanta.
No, yeah, and all they do is just print money. And what do? They go scout and they find young, cheap players and they build them up. And yes, you could call them system players. Who cares? They sell them off though. Still,
yep.
If Inter players were only system players, but we were able to realistically in terms of their age and current value, the only two players that we have of any value are Sucic and Bisek.
Yep.
That's realistically where we're at.
Well,
and
could be MPO.
And Pio, yeah, okay, but yes, but Pio we developed up. That's probably the only home run.
Well,
that
we don't want to sell those players,
No, we don't want to sell those players. That's not what I'm trying to get at. But realistically, that's all we have. These clubs are factories, is what I'm saying. They're able to bring in this younger, cheaper talent, and then boom, sell them off, and then they're able to keep replenishing the system.
But if you can't be the factory, have a relationship with
the factory. Yeah.
Make it easy for them to.
You can't tell me we can't make a good relationship with like a Club Brugge and be able to bring a bunch of their kids over and over and over again, and then it would have been nice
every year.
Every year. You're going to tell me you wouldn't want to have Ordóñez, De Ketelare, and then if they don't pan out, oh well, you load them up, but at least you're getting them on the cheap and you're able to whatever. Not that De Ketelare and even Giushari were cheap. They were I think 35 plus each, but if you get in ahead of the curve, you get them for 20 to 25 million, and then you're able to see what happens. Regardless, we just are terrible at building relationships. Auxilio is only good at going to dinner with agents that he is only already friends with. We only sign players with Pepe Rizzo. That's between him and the other clown that I can't stand.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Pepe Rizzo.
Who's the other agent?
Pastorello?
Pastorello. Oh my gosh. The amount of trash that he's brought to our club. What a loser.
So here's where we're at right now. Number one, this is what we can agree on. And what I think Interisti should take away from this podcast. One, Oak Tree is just operating as they are. And it's not their fault. This is just what they are. It's not their fault that they are what they are. Auxilio is tired and old. His methods, I don't mean physically old. I mean, his methods don't work under the constraints that he's given. And listen, constraints are constraints, but a lot of, we have constraints with this current ownership. There are a lot of directors, a lot of smart football executives out there that could make something out of it. But Auxilio, he's not prepared to be able to work under constraints. And you know what? Working under different conditions and being able to adapt, that's a sign of a good, savvy executive. This guy can only rely on agent relationships, going after, obsessed with Premier League players that are ready to leave the league. And there's just nothing to his strategy. There's nothing to it. He is a problem. You can't tell me that someone else in his role. It's the same thing like with the Yankees and Cashman, where it's like, okay, trade deadline passes. Did you really do everything you can to put the best team on the field? It's like, Piero, are you really doing everything? Does it have to be these guys for 6 weeks that you have to target this fucking one guy? You're waiting for this. It's like, are you doing the best that you can? No.
It's the same player list of interest from 2021. Like, he literally has not changed his game. He's not found anything. They haven't discovered anything. You know, Bachin was the one who brought Sucic. Not anything Piero did. Not like he's the one who was going on the trips, brought us, said, hey, this is the profile that's going to fit this club, blah, blah, blah. And then we were able to get it done for, 12, 13 million euros. Like, fantastic. Oh, there's another prime example, 12, 13 million euros. You can find talent. It's out there. Are you doing everything you can?
You signed Sucic last year for 13 mil. He comes in, he has his getting his feet wet season. And then this season, he's ready for his breakout. And you know what you could do? You could sign Kostov, do the same thing, like he's getting his feet wet, whatever. And then the next year, the year after that, he'll be ready to go.
No way. Oh my gosh. What a crazy idea. And the best part is, you know what you're having? You still have Çalhanoğlu, you still have Zielinski, but then they could be ushered out, and now you're just able to replenish the ranks. Oh my gosh.
I didn't have to spend big to replace them. I had them already.
Yeah. No, but like let's start thinking about a guy for 35, 45 million euros, which we can't afford. And then like we'll waste a month and a half trying to negotiate a deal which we know isn't getting done, to then be like, hey, we tried, we failed. Here's the same players. Here's another year of Mkhitaryan.
Patience. Like more patience. More patience.
Can you imagine if we didn't re-sign Mkhitaryan? And I don't even want him. Everybody knows I can't stand him. But the alternatives are Fratesi and Aslani.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Zilu, Hakan, Barella starting. Let's say that's it. Sucic off the bench or rotated in. You know he's going to be rotated in. He's not going to be, not playing. And then the only other option, God forbid, is Alexander Stankovic now. Yeah, so, okay, we have him. And then Mkhitaryan, like...
Sucic.
But, huh?
Sucic, Stankovic.
And Mkhitaryan.
Yep.
Okay, but let's say you don't keep Mkhitaryan, right? And you, for whatever reason, you're unable to bring back Stankovic. What are you doing? Your bench is, once again, you're a weak spot because you have to then rely on Fratesi and Aslani in late game situations to potentially try to help you either see out a game or chase a goal. Thank goodness we had the buyback clause on Stankovic. Because, honestly, where would we be if we didn't have that?
Akin Samiro would likely have had to play a huge role that he wasn't ready for. But legit.
You're right. No,
legit.
You're right. I'm
because they wouldn't be able to stop. Yeah.
That would have been our situation.
They wouldn't have even given him the opportunity because they still would have had Fratesi, and then they would have said, well, Fratesi needs to come off the bench. He needs to be the one. Meanwhile, Akin Samiro would have been the one that deserved the minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's touch on one more thing, and then we'll get into some of these questions that were sent over.
All right.
The players themselves. Pavard, Fratesi, Aslani. Pavard, like, I just don't get it. It's out in the media that they don't want you. Inter's making it Pedula is saying they have offered this guy to every single club in Europe and beyond. That's what Pedula is saying about Pavard. They don't want you. And you're like, no. And again, it's like partially, how much you really put on the player. I think it's like a piece of shit kind of move where it's like, let the club move on and do what they have to do. Like, it is what it is. But you want to say player power, whatever it is, it's still Inter's fault that one player could hold up their entire Mercato by saying no. That seems like a problem. That seems like a situation that you should not have let yourself get into. But Benji, like, dude, they don't want you, bro. Like, leave. What the fuck? Benfica and Galatasaray those are good opportunities. Those are two of, like, historic clubs. If I was later on in my career and maybe he thinks he still got in the tank, bro, you didn't have it at Marseille last year, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind finishing out my career at Benfica. I wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, I'd be more than okay going to a club like Benfica, going to a club like Galatasaray, like being able to still play in meaningful games, not playing, it's not like you're going to play in the second division of some country. You're going to play for two, like you said, of the most historic clubs in those countries, whether it be Turkey, whether it be Portugal. Why not give it a go?
Galatasaray's got a crazy fan base. Breaking Giovanni Longati. Inter is sticking with the regular defensive unit, the same defensive unit. Ridiculous.
And not for nothing, I feel like Longati's the most accurate.
He's plugged in right now.
He's the guy I trust the most. So you said that's breaking? This is it. Yep. Stones is the guy, bro. Stones is in.
Remember, we're signing 2 defenders. So Pavard's not. What they've realized now is Pavard's not leaving. Okay,
and there's your second defender.
It's Pavard, Bisek. So okay, Akanji and Stones and Bastoni, Carlos. Okay, so go get a good wing back.
That's not happening. That's not happening. We got Andy Diouf. He scored 2 goals against bakers and butchers, bro. Like, you're not thrilled? You're not thrilled? We got Diouf and Luis Enrique. Nobody's coming in. That's it. All
right, let's do this. How would you develop Stankovic, as a vice Chala or as a Mezzala? Really good question.
That is a good question. I would say as a vice Chala, because then you could allow Sucic to focus on being the Mezzala. You don't have to have them, rotating. And yes, it's good to have tactical flexibility, but you already know that they have the flexibility.
Right.
So, like, you can do it in emergencies, but maybe allowing them to focus on one thing would allow them to grow in a way that they aren't going to be making, silly mistakes or silly mental errors, that they're able to kind of know and understand their positioning. They can be the understudies to a Zilu, to a Hakan in their respective roles, and then continue to develop in that way. So, and I thought, like, obviously the best games that Sucic had, which, funny enough, people thought that you had to move Barella to the left, but I thought Sucic in particular, had his best games on the left side, not on the right. So you could leave Barella. You could leave Barella in his natural position, let him stay there, and then you could, let Sucic play on the left side and continue to grow there.
I agree, and the biggest reason I agree is because I think it's way harder to develop a regista than it is to develop a Mezzala. So if you can get a kickstart on that development under someone like Hakan, like I think it's a dime a dozen that you find a really good regista. Mezzala, you can find those. Compare Inter starting 11 to the contenders at this point in the Mercato. I'll go first. Like, even with as poor as this Mercato is, like,
on paper, on paper we should be the best team. On paper,
yeah.
But again, this is where I'm frustrated as well. Everybody's another year older. Yes, it's the same thing for every other club in Serie A, but our core have been playing together now since 2017. This is coming up on year 9 that they are going to be there.
Yeah.
At what point do they start fading a little bit?
They're going to.
It's going to happen. It is coming. You have to face this reality.
Paterno is already talking about, like, his legs aren't what they used to be, and he needs to play a little.
And he's only and he's only 30. And it's not because of anything else, but he's been one of the most minutes played since that time. I think the only 2 players that I saw that had played more minutes were Bruno Fernandes.
Yep.
And I forget who else, but like in that. I'm sorry.
Bernardo.
Yes, those are the 2 guys who have played more minutes since that time, since Barella's got at Inter, than Barella in all of Europe. That's a lot of miles on those legs, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And you almost feel like someone like Kostov, if they did bring him in, it's not even to replace the elder players. It's because they expect a huge offer for someone like Sucic. Because that is going to happen. They're not sellable anymore.
That is going to happen.
It is going to happen.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying when I was trying to say, like, Bisek and Sucic are the only sellable assets. Like, no one's coming for Barella, no one's coming for Bastoni, no one's coming for Lautaro. As you know, and listen, I don't want those guys to go. I would want them to finish at Inter, but even still, nothing's coming.
Many Inter players dream of Champions League glory, but top contenders in Europe are loaded up with pace and difference makers like Kavicha,
No way.
Olise, Diomande, Yamal, Mbappe, Doué, to name a few. How far of that Champions League dream do you see for Inter?
Like, how far do I see us going? Or
yeah, I think so.
No, I don't think we get past quarterfinals anymore.
Yeah, not with this Mercato.
And not with this Mercato, not with this extended series where like it's 30 around at 32, then 16, then like you're adding so many games for no reason. Honestly, to me, this was just a stupid idea. Same thing with the extended World Cup too. We ended up getting the same two teams that we probably would have expected to be in the final four, or final two, but the final four in general. It's like these extra games just for more money are only helping UEFA and FIFA fill their pockets. It's not doing anything for the clubs. You're making it harder for us. If we got past a round of six or a quarterfinal, it's because we ended up playing a club. No offense, but like a Benfica, like a Marseille or something. Draw. Yeah, we would have to get a perfect, and honestly, the only, except for the one where we got smoked by PSG, like the one before that where we lost to Man City, we did have a really good draw to be able to get the finals in that one. We did. You get Porto, then Benfica, then Milan. Yeah, and you literally played Man City off the pitch. You just had Lukaku, and a very lucky goal for Rodri. But
I mean, I can't believe this. I'm just looking at Twitter. I cannot believe it. Like some of these reports, it's like they want Pavard to go, and he just won't leave. And you know what? At the end of the day, Interisti, you need to hear this. As much as you're like, get the fuck out, Benji. If your entire market is contingent on a 31-year-old deciding, whether or not he's
to leave
at his play, like, you are the problem. you are not doing your job right. Anyway, that's it. That's all for these questions, Johnny. This is going to be a rough end to the season. You know what the only thing that I think, if Interisti, this doesn't give anyone solace, but hey, this has got to be Piero's last summer window at Inter. There's no more. His contract is running out.
They're going to renew. They're going to renew.
No, I don't think. But here's the thing: if Oak Tree still owns us next year, I don't think that they like working with someone like Piero Alcidio. It's like,
listen, I hope you're right. But my expectations are low.
Especially if, like,
I think Beppe is going to push to keep his, his counterpart. He's not.
Well, then Beppe needs to go too. Then you're a dinosaur.
Beppe's not going to go. He's not. Now he's got a stake in the club. He's not going.
If he's got stake in the club, he should know that, like, he should watch this shit show of a summer.
You would hope he would, but it clearly he's not. Doesn't seem to be worried himself. And it's just exhausting. It really is.
Also, Kivu is not the issue, people. This year, he's not.
If anything goes wrong, if we don't win a trophy this season, I don't want to hear anybody coming for Kivu's neck. I don't want to hear anybody trying to get him fired. I don't want to hear anything. Listen, I said it last year when we hired Kivu. This is on management only. This has nothing to do with Christian Kivu. When you drag your feet on trying to make sure you lock up a renewal with Simone Inzaghi because you think that's pretty much a done deal, when you drag your feet on once you finally know that he is going to be on the way out before the final, and you don't get your supposed top target. Listen, whether you wanted him or not, Allegri was rumored to be a top target. And that's it. Everybody gets snatched up. All the other managers get claimed, and your only options left are Patrick Vieira and Christian Kivu. But then you get mad that Kivu gets hired. I was not upset with the hire. I like that he was an Interisti. I like that that he did do relatively well in those 13 matches at Parma. I mean, he beat us, right? So I didn't see a problem. And then I was going to give him a pass because of what was provided for him. You know, like I did not fault him. I was not going to fault him if anything went wrong. Fortunately, he was able to win all the games that you're supposed to win, which, contrary to what you want to say, Antonio Conte wasn't able to do. Simone Inzaghi wasn't able to do. We should have had more titles if Inzaghi beat all the teams that we were supposed to beat. We didn't drop points to any team except Udinese that we were supposed to beat.
That's all. Like within the first 5 games of the season.
Yeah, that's when we lost. In the second game of the season, we lost to Udinese, and that was the only game that we dropped points to a team that we were supposed to beat.
When you watch what has played out this summer, Interisti, please think about the miracle working and the Herculean effort that the players and the staff are bringing, because they have no fucking help. None. Period. Oak Tree, you know what? They don't even feel the obligation to help them. But Piero, I'm telling you, and for all the like Auxilio defenders, this guy is not prepared to do his job. It's not. Constraints are a normal thing that everyone that has employment has to work under. You have to do your best. That's your job. This guy is a fucking joke. All right, I got nothing left in the tank.
I'm tapped out too. I don't, I could literally talk about this all night. I don't want to. I don't want this to be an episode. And it's funny how this whole Mercato is just falling apart so quickly. Although, I mean, once I saw the Palestra thing not work out and I was getting worked up on Twitter, taking the break was nice. And, I think staying off as much as I can has been awesome. But yeah, I mean, I love that. Listen, I'm calling them Iftar for the rest of the year. If this works out, if this player's sold, if this one's moved, if everything's an if. We have a million ifs at this club. Nothing is sure. It's pathetic. It's not surprising though, because look at who we have running the club. A bum like Piero Auxilio.
I genuinely do feel like a sense of apathy. Like just watching this, it's like, why am I gonna get so upset? It's like, this is for what reason? This is
like I'm gonna support. Obviously, I'm gonna watch the games. I'm gonna support the club. I'm gonna support the players. I'm gonna support the manager. I don't support anybody else. I don't care about this ownership group. I don't care about this management. I don't like Auxilio and Marotta. They could both be fired tomorrow. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care about either. I wouldn't miss either one of them. And for all the people that defend Beppe Marotta and then say like, "Oh, look what he's done. Look at the relationships with this and that." And what have we sold? Look at it. What have we sold? I went over the numbers last episode.
All we do is get embarrassed. All we do is get embarrassed in the media.
We get dragged by everybody. When we have a player like a Marcelo Brozovic, we could only sell him for 18, even though the original we were demanding 25. Then we said 22. Then we settled on 18. Like we negotiate against ourselves more often than any club I've ever seen in Europe and in this modern era. I don't see that happening with anybody else, where they shoot themselves in the foot. They don't get things to work out. I mean, it's insane to me that this is where we're at, but also not. It doesn't surprise me because of just who we have running the club.
Welcome, Ifteristi. No, just kidding.
That's it, bro. Maybe I'll try to see if I could change. Maybe I'll see if I could, change it to Ifterviews pod.
For every Mercato, honestly.
For every Mercato, the summer, we're just going to be Ifterviews. I will be getting a logo made for us.
At least someone's getting the job done around here. All right. In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi.